Hey, welcome back to another Rant by Lando. You can get me on Twitter at Lando_FF. This is the Snap Fantasy Football Podcast. We are on Twitter and Instagram at Snap_Fantasy. Today, I'm talking about breakout candidates for 2020. Guys that you're going to want to draft on your fantasy teams to make sure you win your leagues. All your drafts are coming up this week, and I can't wait to help you out win your teams. If you have your own breakouts, your own busts, your own sleepers, comment below. This week I'll be talking about sleepers and busts in other episodes, but today is just about the breakouts. This is the most important episode of the year. And if you haven't already, I think I said this already, subscribe, put on that notification so you can get all our fantasy advice all year round. Here we go. Number one breakout. I'm talking about DAndre Swift, the Detroit Lions running back. He is a guy I have been growing on week after week. And I think he has a really good chance to break out this year and overtake Kerryon Johnson in that backfield. A report just came out last week that Kerryon projects to be the starter in Detroit. I'm not concerned about that. Kerryon, of all the rookie running backs except for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, has one of the easiest chances to get a workload and get that bell cow running back. So, there's Cam Akers. I think the running game is not going to be as good in LA. There's J.K. Dobbins. Mark Ingram hasn't shown that he can't be the leader in that running back backfield. And then Jonathan Taylor, who I love, is behind Marlon Mack, and he also hasn't shown any signs of slowing down. So DAndre Swift going at the 605, running back 30, I think can break out into the top 12 running back. I could see easily next year being a 1012 pick, maybe 201 pick, and this guy is going to be someone that I can have on as many teams as I can. Next, I'm going to talk about wide receiver from the Washington football team, Terry McLaurin. Big fan of this guy. All the targets are going to him. Every target from Dwayne Haskins is going to Terry McLaurin. There's no one else there. Steven Sims is meh. The backfield is very uncertain, even though I did another video on that. We're not really sure who's going to get that workload and if there's going to be a pass catcher that can actually take away targets. But I think Dwayne Haskins takes a step forward this year, and I also think that Terry McLaurin is going to break out into that top 12 wide receiver for next year. Right now, he's going at wide receiver 23, which is still a bit high, but he's in the 5th round. That range, if you're in your fantasy drafts, take running backs early, take wide receivers in round 4, 5, 6. And that's when you're going to get the most value at that position. Next, I'm going to go tight ends. Number one, there's 3 or 4 tight ends that I really like late in drafts. One's TJ Hockenson, super athletic tight end for Detroit. Noah Fant, again, extremely athletic, should be that move tight end. Jonnu Smith is one that could be the number 2 target in that receiving core. Pass catcher there. I don't know if Corey Davis is that guy. He might be close to Corey Davis, but there's going to be a lot of touchdown upside. We know A.J. Brown's number 1 in that offense, but Jonnu Smith could be used a lot with Delanie Walker gone. And then Mike Gesicki is a guy I really like for breakouts. And in your fantasy drafts, I want you to draft 2 of these guys, any 2 going in rounds 10 or 11 or later. Get a couple of these guys because you're going to want to stream week to week. The tight end possession is super touchdown dependent, and you need to take a couple of these guys and play them in good matchups. Mike Gesicki, it's only him and Devontae Parker, Preston Williams maybe. You just want to get Mike Gesicki on your team. Again, super athletic. He's going to be a guy that if I see him on your fantasy team, I love the look of that team. Quarterbacks, go late round quarterback. Unless you get ultra good value on Lamar or Patrick Mahomes, the late round quarterback strategy wins you championships. That's what Lamar did last year. That's what Patrick Mahomes did 2 years ago. So 2 guys I like, Baker Mayfield and Drew Lock. I already did a video on Drew Lock. That's awesome. But Baker Mayfield, he went as the 4th quarterback last year off the board. This year he's going at the 17th quarterback. The pendulum has swung too far for Baker Mayfield. You need to take him. He still has a great receiving core. That defense is not great, so they're going to be in shootouts, hopefully. And there's so many weapons. There's no reason he cannot provide good fantasy output. Now, he's not a week-to-week plug and play. You have to start him, but he doesn't have to be. He's going in the 12th round of fantasy drafts. People don't like him because he busted last year. He didn't have a good year, had a ton of interceptions. This year, he's going to be way better, and you don't have to pay up for him. So get Baker Mayfield on your team. He's going to break out. Drew Lock is also a guy that has a ton of potential. He's more higher risk, in my opinion, than Baker Mayfield, but he's going in the 14th round of fantasy drafts. So his weapons, again, it's the same kind of narrative for Baker, where his weapons are super good. He's got Cortland Sutton, who I love. There's the new Jerry Jeudy in that offense, Noah Fant, two good weapons in Phillip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon. So this is a guy that they'll do everything they possibly can for him not to fail. He will not fail in Denver if it's the last thing John Elway does. And they're gonna put all these weapons around him. So these 10 breakouts, I've got two more. I'll take Mackenzie's breakouts. So he went rookie running back as well for his breakout. And this is a guy that I could see being a top 5 selection next year in your fantasy drafts. And I did say there's a running back in front of him that was pretty good, but that's Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor is going in the 4th round, mid-4th round, but he could go as high as the back of the 2nd round. So you're going to have to take a risk on Jonathan Taylor if you want him in your leagues. And if you're in some kind of keeper league, that's where I'm willing to take him in the 3rd or 4th round. If you can keep him for that round again, that's when I see him that he's going to be a league winner next year. But this year, he's going to be as close to Miles Sanders as I think we have in this league. Whereas second half of the year, he's a complete breakout and he wins you championships. Maybe not Miles Sanders, maybe what Nick Chubb was a couple years ago with Carlos Hyde when he went down. Jonathan Taylor is arguably the 3rd best raw talent at the running back position we have in the league. You can argue that it's Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey. But besides those two guys, he's the most talented running back. So if you think the talent will rise to the top, then you need to take and reach on Jonathan Taylor, but he might not produce for you early in the season. It's going to be maybe a split backfield, but their O-line is phenomenal. Their team is a little bit questionable, but I think Jonathan Taylor can be that guy that performs on a mediocre team and will be just a guy that you cannot hold back. Every time he touches the ball, he's going to do something electric. That's why Marlon Mack, although he's a hurdle for Jonathan Taylor, I don't think it's that too much of a hurdle for one of the most talented backs in the league. Lastly, I'm going to go one of Mackenzie's guys, and that's Dairus Slayton, the wide receiver for the New York Giants. He was a rookie last year. He was a guy that no one really knew much about. He wasn't highly touted like A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf, but he was a guy that kind of flew under the radar. And when there was injuries for that receiving core, he stepped up and had that connection with Daniel Jones. So this year, if he takes that sophomore jump, wheels up for Dairus Slayton. So again, if you want to go for the safe option in that receiving core, you could go with a guy like Golden Tate. If you want to go with mediocre upside, you go with a guy like Sterling Shepard. Full upside, I think he's going first out of that receiving core. You go with Dairus Slayton, and he has a chance to be, for sure, a top 24 pick next year. A really good dynasty asset that has a lot of time to build chemistry with Daniel Jones. But he's the guy that Mackenzie thinks that will break out this year for fantasy football. Who did I miss? I know I can't talk for hours about breakouts, but this is my list and Mackenzie's list on who can win you your fantasy championships. If you get these guys on your team, I'm going to love your team, and they're going to accrue value in the season. They're going to get more value. So get these guys and win some championships. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Comment below who's your breakouts, who I missed, and if I got anything wrong. Do you hate my picks? All right, guys. So don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.